when you practice the infinite banking concept, you now have taken over the role of being the bank owner and the banker in your life. Before, you allowed someone else to play that. You allowed your regular banking institution to play that role where they are the bank owner and they are the banker. The banker determines what your schedule is, like what your terms are.
Right.
So now that's a whole other process. It's like getting used to the fact that you get to determine those terms and conditions for yourself. And that's what we're here to do.
Welcome to the WinEH podcast. This show is focused on empowering ranchers. Whether you're a seasoned rancher or just getting started, we'll guide you on how to use the infinite banking concept as an alternative way to finance your operations. It's a better way to think about money. Join us as we discuss planning for the future, attracting the next generation, and the art of keeping more money within the family. Here's your hosts, Winnie and Lacy.
Welcome in, welcome in. I just love saying the words welcome in. It's something that I actually picked up from when, just being in the South, down in the States. And I know lots of Canadians are boycotting the States right now, but I want to just bring up the fact that there is just some things about being in the States that I really enjoyed, and being welcomed into a restaurant, being welcomed into the store. And when they say welcome in, there's just something about it that makes me feel so good. And so I hope it makes you all feel the same when I say welcome in, because today we are actually going to be talking to those of you who are already in the process of practicing infinite banking. So whether you are our clients or not, I think some of the big wonderments that really happen is like, just what is the process? Like, how do I get into like the proper management of managing myself with this new lifestyle of IBC, the world of IBC. And so Lacy also has a special point of view to share with all of us too, because when we started working together like 4 years ago, and time just clocks by so fast, doesn't it, Lacy? One of the things that I shared with Lacy is like the best way, in my opinion, to become an advisor is by starting with service. And it was a win-win situation, because for me, I really needed someone who was really dedicated to the service side of things to help me, because believe it or not, it actually requires a lot of service on our part as advisors to really make it a much more successful experience for those of you who decide to walk this path, because this is not a transactional experience where we sell you a product and then you set it and forget it, and we only talk to you once a year. It's not that at all. Actually, the work really starts to happen when you become a client, and that's when you want and require the most amount of guidance. And that's where a lot of the service, I spend a lot of my, what you may know, commissions being reinvested back into the business, being reinvested back into service, being reinvested back into all of you who are our clients. And so, Lacy, why don't you maybe step through the process of like what you are to have experienced as a new client?
Yeah. So this is a topic, like you said, when I asked for a role or to start working with you, I started working in policy service administration. So I think that's actually kind of my role, policy service administrator, maybe on Team Winnie. So I'm 4 years in, and whenever you go through the application process and your policy is approved, it's put in place, then you kind of get moved over to this whole other department, and that's where I come in. And a lot of people come to us, like, say, new clients, they have insurance policies in place already, but one, they don't really know what they have or what they can do with it. And that's where we come in. So there's oftentimes maybe changes that need to be made. Did you change your bank account? Then that requires a change at the insurance company. Did you get married and you need to change your beneficiaries now? Did you have kids and you need to change your beneficiary again? In some unfortunate cases, was there a divorce? Beneficiary changes. It requires
to someone passing away.
Right. Like, there's so many different scenarios. And so that's where our team comes in, and we're there to advise you on changes that can be made or help you walk through those changes, help you prepare paperwork for those changes, making sure everything is how it should be. But when we add the whole other layer of infinite banking, we're adding another layer of service, because not only are we managing the insurance policy itself when we're speaking of, in insurance terms, but then we're managing and helping you strategize with implementing the infinite banking concept. So that brings in just a whole new level of attention that needs to be paid to these policies. And that's where I've been for 4 years. And I continue to be in that role. And maybe sometimes that's confusing to some of our clients, where I am over here and I'm the main person in the service admin role, but I'm also on the sales side or like new business side. So
let's just take a quick moment to clarify that, because this is a podcast, right? So when you're listening to this is like summer of 2025. So if you're listening to this in the summer of 2026, this may no longer be the case. So just right now, it's in a transitionary place where I am actually actively looking for the right person to be in the specific role. And not anyone can just do it. Like I'm not going to just bring anyone in, because every single team member has to be vetted in the sense of having a criminal background check, credit check, sign a confidentiality agreement. And they also have to be, as a service person, they actually also have to be licensed as well, especially to just be 100% compliant. So there's lots that actually really goes into needing a person that can actually be in the service position to properly be authorized to service you. So the next piece that I actually really wanted to get into is, I think more so when, let's fast forward, you applied, you got approved by the life company, and that whole process in it of itself sometimes takes away from like the excitement of implement everything that is talked about in this book.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like it takes a little bit kind of getting back on track after someone goes through the application process to kind of get re-engaged in the mindset, like what's up here in the mindset of, hey, you can get started with making this into your lifestyle now. Right?
Yeah, because sometimes the application process, it can take 6 weeks to 3 or 4 months. We don't know. Everybody's different, right? The application process is not an overnight process. And so oftentimes, once we get that approval and the new policy is in place, so that's where I come in and I'm meeting with these new clients and I'm saying, okay, so now let's review what you have, what you've been approved for, and what's in place, and get you reacquainted with it and re-inspired with the infinite banking concept.
And your own specific reasons why, right? Because it's not about why we think it's good. It's like all along the way, if you've stepped into working with us, you've shared with us what matters to you most and why this even matters to you, or what this could do for you once the contract is in place, right? So a lot of the times too, it's going to be us reminding you of what you told us that you wanted. So go ahead,
and
Lacy.
like every policy is different, right? Unless you are identical twins and you applied on the same day. It's such a fluke thing, but we do have a client with identical twins. Anyways, every single policy is going to look different unless you are those two identical twins. But maybe
who just had another set of identical twins.
Yeah.
We have to check in with them.
It's so cool. It's so cool. So every policy is going to look different, and then every person is going to have a different reason. A reason why they wanted to implement the concept. And so we meet up with you and we sit and we say, okay, this is what your policy is. Now let's go back to, you first came to us because you wanted to pay less interest to the bank. Let's just use that as an example. We look at what can you put into this policy? What are your cash values projected to look like? And then, in this many years, we just sit and we strategize and we come up with ideas of like, okay, This is by year 5, you can pay this much less interest to the bank if you have focus and dedication and maximize this policy.
Yeah. Again, so first sessions after a policy is actually in place and you've paid it to settle it out and it's now active for you, we want to make sure you get onboarded in the correct way. So quite often, depending on the life company that was best for you in the sense of getting qualified and all that sort of stuff based on your health and also the type of contract, because not all whole life policies are created equal. We want to get you set up online with that underwriting company to get that profile set up so that you have access to your information. And we also go through and Lacy was saying, re-engage you with what you now have and come up with the first goal. Like, one goal that you can work towards to really get you connected to this new lifestyle that you're about to set foot on and the goal that inspires you most to keep you going, right? So to speak, like maybe it may or may not be a bad choice of word depending on who the listener is, but gamify it in a way, right? Like how can you get this into your life in a way that is fun for you? We also show you all the different tools in which you can start tracking for yourself. Because I think once you kind of get to know the idea, like a lot of people always say to us, they get it. But I think it starts to become evidently clear, like when it comes to implementing it, it's like, it's not like they get it, right? Because the way that you go about accessing money out of the policy is different than what you do at a regular blank online, where you just click, and that's that. So let's say, for example, doing a policy loan, like the first act of actually like proving to yourself, oh, my money is liquid to me. And this happens to be a life insurance contract, brainwave. So Lacy, why don't you let us know in general, right? Because each life company is a little bit different. What can people expect?
Yeah. So just to touch base back on what you said, like we help you in that first meeting after your policy's in place. We help you access and get signed up for your client portal. So each life company that we work with, they offer, or the two main ones that we work with, they offer a client portal. So you're able to have your own login, similar to your online banking, actually, where you're able to view your policy information, view your policy values. But what you're also, and you're able to make some small changes in there. But with one company we do most of our business with, you can actually request loans right in that client portal. And so it's really a click of a button, direct deposit into your bank account, and it's a done deal.
How many business days?
Oh, lately we have seen them super fast processing. I had one client who requested a loan on her own and she actually had the funds the next day. So that's super, super fast. And I would never guarantee anybody that they're going to have their funds in one day. But that was one client's experience. But we're looking, 5 to 7 days.
And sometimes, okay, you have to remember, I think some companies more and more are automating the process so that it leaves room for less human error. I would say though, like to be on the safer side, it could be as quick as, like you say, 1 day, but it could also be like 2 months. So because what can happen is human error.
Yep. Yeah. Right? So there has been a couple of times, unfortunately, where there was human error. And you know what? We have to be forgiving and just remember that it is another person sitting on the other side at the life company doing their job, and none of us are perfect. And so there was, and actually one of the policy loans that took an entire month was my own personal policy loan. So we're not immune from the human errors just because we're the advisors. So one company, yes, you can request a loan right online. It's a click of a button. The other company that we do some business with, it's actually still a paper form. I do think that as they improve their systems, we're probably going to see an automated form, automated way to request form. But a paper loan form is still, we can help you prepare that. We send it off to the life company for you and help track that. And that's, because it's less automated, it does take more time. So we're looking 10 days to 2 weeks. So, but this all goes back to being in tune with your finances. So just like you're in tune with your bank account, I hope you're in tune with your bank account. We're going to coach you to be in tune with your life policy just as much as you are as your bank account. Because when you are fully implementing the concept, you're going to be wanting to know, what have I put in there? What can I take out? What do I need to repay? It all just starts to be second nature.
Yeah. And I would almost like say need to repay. I just maybe clarify that in the sense that you're not required to repay your policy loan. However, when you are practicing the infinite banking concept and you've listened to us in the grocery store example, you want to. And you get to
repay it.
You want to repay it and you get to repay it. And you get to, like, you want to treat it almost like your own line of credit that you own and control, and the limit on it grows every single day. And you want to get so connected to it so that you understand the true value it's going to create for you over a period of time. So what Lacy is sharing is that at the beginning, we show you the way. We are going to be your guide. We're going to be there for you step by step on what it feels like to do a policy loan. And we also provide ways of like, hey, if you don't want us to guide you and you want to do it yourself, if you want us to just tell you how it's done and you want a written format of that, we have that too. No problem. Because there's definitely some of you who are like self-starters, do-it-yourselfers and all that sort of stuff. But for those of you who really want to be guided, we got that down pat too. But over a period of time, we definitely also advocate for you to do this yourself. Like when it comes to doing policy loans and then tracking them and making sure everything's good, that is something that we also guide you to do as well.
Right. Yeah. Because once you have a policy in place, like you have access to us. That's one of the things that you get on the receiving end. You have access to us. We're here as your coaches and your advisors. We're also going to empower you to do this, to be so in tune with it that you're doing and you're learning how to do this yourself, but that we are always here.
And we're also here to celebrate with you. Like there are some really cool moments that both Lacy and I have, and we wait for those moments where it's like, this is why we are doing this, right?
Yeah, and I speak of that. Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead. The one clients who...
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just going to keep talking.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I have to say this. The one clients who built, they replaced their line of credit at the bank with their policy because they were focused and dedicated. Within a matter of 3 years, actually, they did that. Or the one client who did put everything into his policy that he could. And when he was on his way to pick up a load of bred heifers, he called me and said, hey, can you start that loan process for me because I'm en route to pick up my bred heifers. That's so cool.
That is so cool. And there's so many different reasons why we go through all of the effort. I mean, I will tell you, like, I think anyone that's been in the life insurance industry enough as like an advisor can attest, like this sharing IBC is not for every advisor because it takes a lot of effort, of effort. And we do it because it doesn't even feel like effort. It's a lot of effort, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like a lot of effort because our passion for edging out the need for banks and watching people get rid of the financing in their life, making the banks plan B and empowering themselves, healing the financial divide that happens so people can stop blaming outside circumstances for their lot in life. And people who are just like, I don't know, the whole thing just really lights us up.
It's so cool to, I have a lot of people that I know in my personal life who have become clients, and it's so cool to see them winning in their finances, being more comfortable talking about it, or having somebody that they trust to talk about it. That's really, really, really cool to celebrate those wins with them. I mean, and not just people I know. Like, of course, we're celebrating wins with every client, but making it, those people they're talking and they're saying, hey, you know what? We have a really good relationship with them and they make us feel really comfortable. You should talk to them too. And so it's one by one, we're making a difference. And that to me, I know that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, 100%. And we're not just celebrating wins too. Like, what's really cool is sometimes like when a person realizes when they just hit a financial hiccup in their life that their policies got them through. It just made it so much more bearable. Like, bad times are bad times. They still suck, but they suck a lot less when the banks aren't as heavily on top of them through a time where they already feel the pressure. So even those moments, although it's not as warm and fuzzy, I mean, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So I guess what else can we say? If you're a corporation, chances are like a lot of farmers and ranchers we serve also have corporations. And so we also help serve clients that really require some more guidance around what does it mean to take out a policy loan from their corporate policy and lend it out to, like, within their operations, because there's a little bit more paperwork that is required in terms of like legitimizing it for their accountants and whatnot. And then just like helping them make their own amortization schedule. Because remember, you now, like when you practice the infinite banking concept, you now have taken over the role of being the bank owner and the banker in your life, right? Before, you allowed someone else to play that. You allowed your regular banking institution to play that role where they are the bank owner and they are the banker. The banker determines what your schedule is, like what your terms are.
Right.
So now that's a whole other process. It's like getting used to the fact that you get to determine those terms and conditions for yourself. And that's what we're here to do, because a lot of the times, like we say that out loud, they understand it conceptually, but then when it's time to actually do it, it's like, what? Right?
Yeah. 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 So another piece too, just to add to this before we end off, like the management of your policies. And so the day that your policy is issued, that becomes your policy anniversary date. And so that's an important date. Every year, you're going to get a statement. So just like you get an annual statement on your mortgage, you're going to get an annual statement on your life policy. And I just so happened to get a statement on one of the policies that I own this week. And so I just had a glance at it right before we got on here. And it's really cool to see. I mean, and I know that I have knowledge on my side and I do this every single day. But what's really cool is I hadn't looked at it before we started this episode, but it's really cool to see how much I can put into this policy this year, because this could get confusing, but the limit that I can put into this particular policy that I'm looking at right now does change every year. That's not the case with every policy we help you put in place. But so, yeah, just really cool to know that like every year I know that at the end of the June, one of these policies needs my attention. And what can I do for it this year? So it becomes something that you become very in tune with. If you are practicing infinite banking and practicing it well, you're going to look forward to those statements coming.
Oh, yes, indeed. And it's going to be super surprising for the most part. Like when you really compare it to any other financial instrument that you have in your life, I guarantee you, just based on all of the hundreds of clients I've sat with to doing an annual discovery of like everything that's been going on, it does bring quite a big peace of mind to come back around that you're on the right path. There's really honestly so much to this. We really Lacy's going to share, what could be your next best step. What I do want to share here is that, really encourage you to use our website. There's actually a section of it where you can give like podcast feedback. Like if you go to the podcast section and you go right to the bottom and there's like a feedback form, we'd love to hear from any one of you. Like, so if you're practicing IBC and you're always like, wait, like, is there something that you're wondering about and you want us to specifically get into the nitty gritty? It would be so cool if you could share your thoughts with us there, and we'll make sure to respond to you.
Yeah, that's right. So to wrap that up, everything that you really need to know to get started is on our website. So rancherway.com, you are going to find a link to order the book. You're going to find our podcast and you can give us some feedback there. You're also going to find a webinar series. So all the way until December, every other week, we are doing a live webinar. So 12 noon Mountain Standard Time. Click that link to get registered. You do have to register to attend. But it's going to be a high-level overview of the Farming Without the Bank book and a really cool story about a family ranching operation. So rancherway.com. Give us some comments or feedback. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you listening.
So glad you leaned in with us on the WinEH podcast. We truly hope you're feeling more informed and empowered to take another step towards optimizing your financial life. Right now, make sure you hit subscribe so you can keep growing and learning with us. Until next time, we wish you prosperity in every area of your life.